Surprise! I'm leaving you for someone who isn't a total disappointment, she said while her dad actually laughed like it was some kind of joke. My wife invited her whole family over just to watch her hand me divorce papers on my birthday, no less. Surprise! I'm leaving you for someone who isn't a total disappointment, she said while her dad actually laughed like it was some kind of joke. They all stood there with smug smiles like they'd been waiting for this moment. Apparently, none of them ever thought she'd actually go through with marrying someone like me. They had champagne ready, literally, to toast my downfall. I just smiled, stayed calm, signed the papers, and walked out. And now, exactly 6 months later, she's sleeping in her car outside my house, blowing up my phone with panicked texts, begging to talk. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. Part of me still can't believe this crap actually happened, but here we are. Just a heads up, this is going to be a long story. So, I turned 33 last Friday. Nothing huge, not like a milestone birthday or anything. Still, Erica, my wife, or I guess soon-to-be ex, told me she had something special planned. She was acting overly cheerful about it all week, constantly glued to her phone, smiling like she had some big secret. At the time, I figured maybe she was planning a surprise party or doing something thoughtful, especially after everything we'd been dealing with lately. Things between us have been rough. Not in a screaming, throwing things kind of way, but in that cold, distant silence that honestly cuts deeper. We'd been married for 5 years. Met in college. She was this gorgeous business major from a wealthy family, and I was the broke scholarship kid working 2 jobs just to survive. It's a pretty familiar story. Her family never really accepted me. Her dad, Dale, and yeah, that's really his name, like some bad guy in an 80s action flick, used to drop little snide comments at every family dinner about where I came from. And her mom would ask, "So how's that little job of yours going?" Even after I got promoted to team lead. Then there were the constant Instagram posts from Erica. Always showing off our place, which wasn't anything fancy, but it was the best we could manage while I was working overtime to save for a house. She'd throw on captions like, "making the best of the simple life," or "finding joy in the little things," like we were some inspirational charity case. She kept comparing us to her cousin Aubrey, who married some hedge fund guy and lived in a literal mansion. The past few months, Erica had been spending more and more time with her family, coming home late from so-called work events, reeking of expensive cologne that sure as hell wasn't mine. Her phone would buzz with messages that made her smile in a way I hadn't seen in months. I wasn't stupid. I had my doubts. But I kept convincing myself that if I just worked harder, if I landed that next promotion, maybe we'd turn things around. Anyway, back to my birthday. I came home from work, had to work on my own birthday. Welcome to adulthood. And the apartment was totally empty. Erica had texted me, said to meet her at her parents' place for my surprise. Right away, that felt off because her parents' house was the absolute last place I wanted to celebrate anything. But I figured maybe she was trying to smooth things over with them or make some peace. So I show up at their suburban McMansion. Erica meets me at the front door with this weird smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I walk into the living room and it's packed. Her parents, her sister Lacey, a few cousins, some family friends I recognized from past gatherings. They're all holding champagne glasses. And the moment I step in, it goes dead silent. Erica looks at me and says, "Zach, we have something really special for your birthday this year." Then her dad snickers. Not laughs, snickers. Like he knew something I didn't. So I'm standing there, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and for a second I actually thought maybe they got me a car or something big. Yeah, I know. Dumb. Then Erica pulls out a manila envelope from behind her back. For half a second I thought it might be plane tickets or something cool. But no. She looks me dead in the eyes and says, "Surprise. I'm leaving you for someone who isn't such a disappointment." The whole room went silent. Except her dad, who started laughing like he just watched the best joke in the world. I was frozen, just standing there, trying to figure out what the hell was happening. Then her dad goes, "We never thought she'd actually marry someone so beneath her. And thank God she finally came to her senses." Erica shoved the envelope into my hands, divorce papers. Already filled out. All they needed was my signature. Then her mom popped a champagne bottle and started pouring it for everyone. They had this whole thing planned like it was some kind of twisted celebration. I still don't know what the hell they thought I'd do. Maybe they expected me to break down. Cry, beg, cause a scene. But instead, something inside me just shut off. Hardened. I looked around at their smug, satisfied faces, at the woman I once thought I'd spend my whole life with, and felt absolutely nothing. It was like I was outside of myself, just watching it all happen to some other poor bastard. I turned to Erica and asked her for a pen. Her little smile slipped for the first time. I guess she wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. Her dad handed me his overpriced Montblanc pen like it was some power move. I walked over to their perfectly polished white marble countertop, laid out the divorce papers, and signed every single line in total silence. Nobody said a word. The only sound in the room was my pen scratching across paper and someone awkwardly clearing their throat in the background. When I finished, I looked Erica dead in the eyes and said, "Thanks for the birthday gift. Best one I've ever gotten." Then I turned around and left. No drama. No shouting. I didn't slam the door. Didn't cuss anyone out. Just walked away while they all stood there in stunned silence. The look on their faces when I didn't fall apart almost made the whole thing worth it. I got in my car and drove off with no plan, no destination in mind. Eventually, I ended up at the sketchy little dive bar, one of those spots where no one knows your name. Ordered a whiskey. Then another. Just sat there staring at my phone while the messages from Erica started rolling in. "Why didn't you say anything? Are you seriously not going to fight for us? You're just proving my point by running away." A few drinks in, something shifted. The numbness faded and this cold, calculated anger started creeping in. Not the kind of rage that makes you do something dumb, the kind that makes you want to burn someone's life down piece by piece, carefully and thoroughly. See, what Erica and her family didn't know was how much dirt I had on them. 6 years of being married to a woman from a family that treats their housekeepers like furniture. You notice things. You overhear conversations. You connect the dots. Like their accountant drunk at every holiday party, babbling on about creative bookkeeping. Or that one cousin hooking up with her sister's husband. Or Dale's business trips that didn't exactly scream business. So that night I made 3 calls. First, I called my buddy Mark. He's a brutal divorce attorney, the kind who makes people cry in court. Second, I started grabbing screenshots of every shady text I could find thanks to our shared cloud account. I had access to a lot. Third, I wrote out a list of every single business contact and mutual friend who needed to hear the real story, my side, before Erica started spinning hers. I didn't go home that night. Crashed on a buddy's couch instead. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was blowing up. More texts from Erica, this time a lot less smug and a whole lot more frantic. Apparently, she thought I'd come crawling back, ready to talk things through or beg for another chance. Instead, by noon, Mark had already filed our counter paperwork. I pulled out my half of the money from our joint accounts, left hers untouched. I'm not petty. I'm just not dumb. I rented a storage unit, moved all my important stuff out while she was off having brunch with her family, probably laughing about how destroyed I must have been. It's been a week since then. I'm staying at an Airbnb while I figure out my next move. Erica's gone from smug to confused to angry to calling me every hour. Her last message? "This isn't how this was supposed to go." Yeah, no shit, Erica. None of this was how it was supposed to go. According to Mark, I'm in a way stronger legal position than she thought. No kids, thank God. My name's on most of the major assets. And I've got more than enough proof of her affair to wreck whatever pity party she's planning. Oh, and let's not forget Chad. Her coworker. The guy she's been sleeping with for months. Real classy move for someone so disappointed in me. So that's where I'm at now, carefully planning my next steps. The rage hasn't gone away, not really. But it's laser focused now. Her family treated me like garbage for years and they threw a damn celebration the day my marriage ended. They have no idea what's coming. Anyone else been through something like this? A public ambush by the person you thought had your back. How did you handle it? Because right now I'm standing on the edge between taking the high road and lighting the whole damn road on fire. And honestly, the fire's looking pretty damn tempting. Update. Holy hell, you guys. First off, I did not expect that post to blow up the way it did. My inbox is basically a war zone now. Thanks for the support, the awards, and all the messages. Special shout out to the 3 people who DM'd me their divorce lawyer contacts. Much respect. So, it's been 2 months since the disaster of a birthday party and some of you asked for an update. Buckle up. Because yeah, there have been some developments. Where do I even begin? Probably with the bombshell I discovered 4 days after that post. So, nothing wild or groundbreaking, just me fixing up old furniture, giving it new life with some personal flair. It's always been a bit of a passion project of mine, even back when Erica used to call it cheap and roll her eyes every time I brought home another beat-up chair. But hey, last week I finally sold a piece on Etsy. I only made about $27 profit after all the costs, but honestly, it felt like I just closed $1 million deal. And here's where things start to take an unexpected turn. Erica's family runs this big deal real estate development firm, very upscale, very exclusive, and word is they've been stumbling lately. Apparently, one of their flashy commercial projects took a nosedive when their main investor decided to walk away. Funny timing, because just a few days before that, I had lunch with an old college friend I hadn't seen in years. Turns out, plot twist, he's now working for the exact same company that pulled the plug on Erica's project. Did I bring up her family or mention their business during that lunch? Nope. Not a word. Did I accept his LinkedIn invite when it popped up after? You bet I did. Why not? And then, out of nowhere, Lacey, Erica's sister, messaged me last week. To be fair, she was always the only one in that whole crew who didn't treat me like I was some kind of embarrassment. She told me Erica's been spiraling ever since everything fell apart, said Chad dumped her flat after her dad tried to strong-arm him into a cushier job within the company. Apparently, Chad wasn't all that into Erica, he was just chasing the perks that came with her last name. Color me surprised. Not. Meanwhile, Erica's once overly curated Instagram, the one packed with daily selfies, brunch spreads, and humble brags about her #perfect life, has gone completely dark. Not a single update in weeks. I, on the other hand, have been living my life and posting little snippets here and there, a couple of hiking shots, some of the furniture I've been working on, a few nights out with buddies. Nothing to flex about, just honest moments from a life that finally feels like it's mine again. The kicker? One of her best friends accidentally hit like on one of my photos at 3 in the morning, then quickly took it back. So yeah, clearly, I'm still on their radar. Last night would have been our anniversary. I was chilling on the balcony, scrolling through Twitter, feeling surprisingly at peace, when my phone lit up with a message from Erica. She wrote, "I know you probably can't stand me right now, but I keep thinking about what our life could have been like if I hadn't screwed everything up. I miss your awful dad jokes and how you always made sure there was coffee for both of us even when we weren't speaking. This place feels so hollow without you." Then came more. Chad was a total mistake. My family misjudged everything. I misjudged everything. And finally, please, can we just talk? I'm not above begging if that's what it takes. I stared at that message for over an hour, typing out response after response. None of them felt right. Eventually, I just put the phone down and went to bed, still unsure. What's wild is, 1 month ago, a message like that would have shattered me in a good way. I'd have dropped everything just to talk to her. Now, I don't even know what I want anymore. There's still some anger there, sure, but it's cooled off, not boiling over like before. Then this morning, I woke up to 5 more texts from her. Each one sounded a little more desperate than the last. The final message read, "I'm outside. I'm in the car. Please come down." I peeked out the window and yeah, there she was. White Audi parked right in visitor parking, just sitting there, staring up at my building. I closed the blinds and started making coffee. And now I'm just sitting here, thinking, what would you even do in a moment like that? There's a part of me that's curious, that still wants to hear what she has to say. But there's another part, the part that's been slowly rebuilding, that knows even opening that door an inch could set me back months. And yeah, there's also a petty little corner of my heart, one I'm not proud of, that kind of hopes she feels the same gut punch I felt that day she served me divorce papers in front of her champagne-popping family. Life's funny, isn't it? 3 months ago, I felt like my entire world was caving in. Now, I'm starting to believe that maybe the next chapter of my life might just be better than anything I left behind. So here we are, one more unexpected update. Didn't think I'd be sitting down to write a 3rd chapter in this roller coaster, but life has a way of keeping things interesting. Quick recap. Erica, my ex, decided to surprise me with divorce papers right in the middle of my own birthday party, surrounded by her family who literally popped bottles to celebrate me getting the boot. Yeah, real high-class behavior. Anyway, that all went down exactly 6 months ago today. And man, things have changed since then. I'm no longer stuck in that dingy month-to-month rental. I finally moved into a real house. Nothing over the top, just a cozy 3-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood with a backyard big enough for the dog I've always wanted. More on that later, I promise. The divorce got finalized a couple of months ago, and honestly, it wrapped up with way less drama than I expected. Erica's family's big-shot lawyer folded faster than a beach chair when my buddy Mark brought out the receipts from the affair. As for my furniture side hustle, it's slowly gaining traction and I'm actually loving it. Look, I'm not making enough to quit my regular job or anything, but I pull in just enough cash to keep my caffeine addiction alive and pay for all the streaming platforms I keep forgetting to cancel. These days, I've even got a handful of repeat customers, folks who ask specifically for my kind of work. Kinda wild, honestly, especially considering Erica used to trash it, saying my stuff looked like I raided a garage sale nobody showed up to. Anyway, Saturday night was nothing special. I had a pizza on the way and I was halfway through a Netflix series that everyone's been raving about. Not gonna lie, it's mediocre at best, but I'm already too far into back out now. Right around 11 o'clock, my Ring app buzzed. I figured it was just another neighbor stumbling home from happy hour and mistaking my porch for theirs. But when I checked the camera, there was Erica's car parked right across the street, just sitting there in the dark, not even a flicker of headlights. At first, I assumed she was dropping someone off. But then an hour passed, and the car didn't budge. I did the logical thing, ignored it, and went to bed. But I couldn't sleep knowing she was still out there, just sitting there like some ghost from the past. Around 1 in the morning, I checked the camera again, same scene, same car. That's when the flood of texts started lighting up my phone. Zach, please. I know you're in there. Just 5 minutes. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Please. I don't know what else to do. Then came the one that actually got me up. I made a huge mistake. And the punch to the gut, I've been sleeping in my car for 3 days. I've got nowhere else. I went to the window and there she was, slouched in the front seat of her Audi. Same ride her dad bought her for her 20th birthday, the one she used to call basic, even though it cost more than half a year of my paychecks. I stood there thinking, weighing it. Part of me, the part still sore from everything she put me through, wanted to just shut the curtains and let her spend another night in her luxury tin can. But I'm not built like that. So I grabbed a hoodie, pulled on some sweats, and stepped outside. When I tapped on her window, the look on her face was brutal. Mascara streaked, hair mess, same clothes she was wearing in her Instagram selfie 2 days ago, except now they looked wrinkled and worn. She fumbled with the lock, practically falling out of the car in her rush to speak. The smell hit me first, not full-on BO, but that fast food funk mixed with desperation, the kind that clings when your car becomes your home. Then I noticed how thin she looked. Erica was never big, but now she looked hollow, like all the energy had been drained out of her. She launched straight into talking, tears in her eyes, voice shaky, everything coming out in a jumbled mess. Took me a minute to piece it together. So here's the rundown. Chad, Prince Charming himself, wasn't just sleeping with her. Turns out he was also feeding confidential info from her family's business to their competitors. When her dad found out, he fired Chad on the spot. Chad bailed, ghosted her, and disappeared with a bunch of stolen data. But that wasn't the whole mess. Erica had been covering for him at work, altering reports, massaging numbers, because, you guessed it, she thought it was love. Once everything unraveled, her dad lost it. Cut her off completely. No more cushy job. No more trust fund direct deposits. No more swanky apartment with a rooftop view. She'd been crashing on friends' couches for a while, but burned every bridge she had. Last one kicked her out for not paying rent. That's how she ended up here, sleeping in her car outside my place with nowhere left to run. I couldn't help myself. I asked why she didn't just go home to her parents' mansion. That's when she dropped the real bomb. Turns out her dad's company was being investigated for some shady financial practices, stuff Chad had dug up and leaked. Apparently, Dale had been cutting corners and cooking the books for years. Now the government was crawling all over them, assets frozen, lifestyle downsized overnight. The karma was poetic. I let her in, not because I was thinking of forgiving her, but because it was cold and I wasn't about to let someone freeze to death in front of my house, even if that someone wrecked me. She stepped inside and just broke down. Started crying about how clean and cozy my place looked. It's not much, some basic furniture and a few plants I've managed to keep alive. But compared to the front seat of her car, I guess it looked like luxury. We sat at the kitchen table while I brewed some coffee. Then it all came pouring out. How her parents pushed for the divorce after learning about Chad. Told her she could move up in the world, ditch me, take half my stuff, and come out ahead. Turns out that whole birthday stunt wasn't just cruel, it was strategic. She and her parents planned it down to the last detail, hoping the shock and humiliation would knock the fight out of me so I'd sign the divorce papers without making a scene. She told me she knew she'd screwed up within a few weeks, but her pride wouldn't let her admit it. Then she hit me with this gem. I thought you'd fight for me. I couldn't help it, I laughed. Not in a mean way, more in disbelief. Like, seriously? She stages this big public betrayal, tells me I'm a letdown, hands me divorce papers in front of everyone on my birthday, and expected what, exactly? That I'd get down on my knees and beg her to stay? That I'd pour my heart out in some dramatic speech about how I couldn't live without her? I just looked at her and asked, straight up, what exactly are you hoping for now? Cue the waterworks again. Then she said it, she wanted another shot. She swore she'd changed. Grown. Learned her lesson. All of that apparently in just 6 months. She had no place to go, no money, no job prospects. Turns out that fancy degree of hers wasn't worth much without daddy pulling strings. She asked if she could stay with me for a while. Said maybe we could figure things out. I let her talk. Let her get it all out. And then I did something that even surprised me. I thanked her. I actually thanked her for the divorce. Because as messed up as it all was, it forced me to see her and her family for who they really were. It made me rebuild my life from the ground up, but this time on my own terms. These last 6 months had been brutal, sure, but also kind of freeing. For the first time since college, I was doing things for me, not for her, not to impress her dad, not to fit into their world. She looked at me like I'd just spoken a foreign language. Then came more crying. More begging. She'd do anything to fix what she broke. Said she'd finally realized what she had and how she'd thrown it away. I told her she could crash on the couch for one night. Just one. It was late and I wasn't about to kick someone out to sleep in their car. But in the morning she needed to start figuring out her next move without me in the picture. The shock on her face was almost comical. I don't think anyone's ever told Erica no before. Morning rolled around and I made breakfast. Habit, I guess. Because even after everything, I'm not a jerk. We were sitting at the table when her phone rang. She answered and put it on speaker, probably without even thinking. And just like that, I heard Dale's voice for the first time since he publicly humiliated me at that birthday party. Except this time, the smug tone was gone. He sounded desperate. Their business was on the brink. Investors were bailing fast and they needed someone with industry connections to help salvage what was left. Apparently, Erica had told him I'd been doing well. So Dale, Mr. You're not good enough for my daughter, had the nerve to ask if I'd be willing to meet and talk business. Said there might be mutual benefits. I nearly spit out my coffee. The same guy who once laughed at me for not having a country club membership was now practically groveling. Erica looked at me with this awkward mix of embarrassment and hope. I told Dale I wasn't interested in helping him out. But I knew someone who might be. Her name's Tessa, the woman I've been seeing for about a month now. We're just friends so far, but honestly, it's the healthiest connection I've had in years. Tessa's amazing at helping businesses clean up their image and start over. After a long pause, Dale asked for her contact info. I gave it to him, ended the call, and looked at Erica. And I could see it in her face, that slow, painful realization that I wasn't hers anymore. I'd moved on. She left about an hour later with a backpack and an Uber heading to her sister Lacey's place, who, for now, agreed to let her stay. Before she left, she turned and asked if I'd ever forgive her. I told her I already had. Not for her sake, but for mine. Holding on to resentment had been eating me alive, and I was finally done carrying that weight. I had furniture to build and a dog to go pick up. Speaking of which, meet Ziggy. He's a 3-legged rescue pit bull I adopted last weekend. Yeah, he drools everywhere and has a weird obsession with stealing my socks, but he's easily the best decision I've made in a long, long time. And just like that, that was the end of the Erica chapter. 6 months ago, she was popping champagne over my downfall. Now she was sleeping in her car outside my house. Life's funny like that. I don't know what's next for her. I genuinely hope she gets her life together. Maybe her family will finally learn something from this whole mess too. But me? I'm finally doing the stuff I always wanted to do, the stuff I never made time for when I was busy trying to fit into a life that wasn't mine. I'm planning trips without worrying about 5-star hotels. I'm making furniture without anyone calling it junk. And yeah, I've got a dog who leaves fur on everything I own, and I love it. To everyone who followed this whole insane ride, thank you. For the advice, the support, and even the tough love when I needed it. Thank you for watching and sticking with me through this tough story. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.